Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, Entitled Mom takes over our family camping trip. Entitled Dad demands I give his son my shoes and then accuses me of theft. My mom throws a fit over not being invited to a wedding plus AITA for thinking she overreacted. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled Mom takes over our family camping trip. My family and I go every year on a camping trip a few towns over. There's always a big event going on when we go, so it's usually a big party environment. Because of this, my dad tries to invite family friends to go as well. This year, he invited his friend T and his wife EM. We've had some bad experiences with EM in the past, especially since she enjoys inviting people to gatherings she isn't supposed to. When we arrived at our campsites, EM had also insisted on bringing her nephew. My mom remarked that she didn't know he was coming, and EM simply shrugged and said she didn't want him to spend the weekend alone, which would be understandable, but he's a 22-year-old man with a pregnant girlfriend, so he most likely wouldn't have been alone. We didn't care much. He brought his own tent and he was a nice guy, so it wasn't too intrusive for us. As we got settled in, EM walked into our camper where I was sitting alone. She looked around and began to question me about it. Things like, "Must be nice to have this camper all to yourselves, and if your dad got rented camper, why are you guys making him sleep in a tent?" First of all, we were allowing everyone to come in, hang out, and use the kitchen and the bathroom if they wanted. We just didn't allow people into the bedroom because that's where me and my mom kept our luggage. Second, my dad wanted to sleep in a tent. The bathrooms in the park are filthy and it can get incredibly hot, and I'm prone to fainting in high temperatures, so I need somewhere to stay cool. That's the only reason he rented the trailer for me and my mom. I explained this to her and she simply nodded and left. My mom later found her making a phone call to one of her friends, stating that there was a fun camping party going on and her husband should come. Of course, this was without our permission. While we ate dinner, EM happily announced to everyone that her daughter, D, would be coming to join us the next day. And, you guessed it, we didn't tell her she could invite anyone. Side note, EM's reasoning for inviting D was so she and my family could make up for her not having a graduation party. She didn't get to have it because EM was insistent it must take place at our house, but it would be inconvenient for us, so we told her no. The next morning we walked outside and we see EM's son, TJ. At this point my mom is super annoyed with EM. That wasn't helped by EM cooking food that we had brought and telling my mom she didn't know what she was doing, so she couldn't help her cook. These weren't small meals either. She spent all day cooking a huge meal on her own accord and then complaining that she hadn't gotten any help. Finally, nighttime rolled around and EM told her kids that they wouldn't be driving home in the dark, so we would make them beds in the camper. Me and my mom were losing our minds at this point, but still, we tried to remain civil. I pulled out the couch onto a bed and my mom started to try to figure out how to turn the dining room table into a bed as well. EM helped my mom lift the table up, before stopping to look and see how it may turn into a bed while holding it up with one hand and leaving my bad back mother to bear the majority weight. I tried to help, but EM was in the way and yelling at me that she had it. After a few minutes, EM came to the conclusion that no, the dining table doesn't turn into a bed. EM let go of the table and angrily pushed it back down while my mom was holding it. This is ridiculous. My daughter shouldn't have to sleep in her car. Next time you need to have better accommodations. She also implied that because her son was so much bigger, we should give up our bed for him. We just said no way. We didn't even know her kids were coming. It mostly stops there, but EM is completely insane, so I'll most likely post about her again. Update: to everyone calling me and my mom pushovers, my dad is a narcissistic drunk who likes his friends and his appearance more than us. He really likes EM and has referred to her as an angel to our family. If me and my mom had told her off, my dad wouldn't back us up, and 6 against 2 is a slippery slope. We didn't allow her back into the camper after the bed incident. The only reason we went was because we weren't going to let EM take our family trip away from us. She ended up doing so, and we aren't doing anything that she is involved in anymore. You and your family are too nice. Way too nice. Should have shut that down first thing. I don't know what happened, officer, she just ran into my fist. EM gets no invites to anything in the future. If she does, she gets told in no uncertain terms, she gets to invite no one else along. If she shows up uninvited, and especially if she had invited others. Hopefully they brought their own tents and have their own spot reservations, because they are not staying in your camper or space. I have no patience for people like this, and I would have no reason to be polite. Tell dad to never invite this be again, or you and mom aren't going. This was a complete disaster and not relaxing at all. Entitled dad demands I give his son my shoes and then accuses me of theft. I was recently in a Foot Locker store killing time before an appointment when a kid, maybe 9 or 10, came up to me and said he liked my shoes. I said thanks and kept walking around the store. A few moments later, the kid and his dad walk up to me and asked me where I got my shoes. I was wearing a pair of Air Jordans 1 Low that I got on Nike in 2020. I told them this and mentioned that I've seen them on stocks for resale. He said thanks for the information and walked away. I decided to try on a pair of shoes, and as I'm waiting for the sales associate to get the shoes, the dad comes back up to me and asks what shoes I am trying on. I show him and he says that he will pay for the shoes I'm trying on in exchange for me to give his son my Jordans. What? I say no and that I will be keeping my shoes and to please leave me alone. He rolls his eyes at me and walks away. As I am trying on the shoes, I see the dad talking to the sales associate that was helping me and is pointing at my shoes. A few moments later, the sales associate comes over to me and says that the dad is saying I stole the Jordans from his son and he's going to call the police if I don't give the shoes back. The sales associate knew the dad was lying as he looked at my shoes when he approached me and saw me when I came in and would get the security guard. The security guard escorts the dad out the store and I'm thinking it's over. Nope. The dad found a police officer outside. I'm in NYC and the UN General Assembly is going on, so cops everywhere, and when I came out the store, they were waiting for me. And just when I thought I couldn't dislike people any more than I already do, the officer was an absolute jerk and appeared to believe the dad. I point out how if I stole his son's shoes, why does the son have on a pair of dirty Converse? Wouldn't he be barefoot? Cop deems me a smart ass and asks if I can prove the shoes are mine. Luckily, my purchase was still showing in my Nike order history. The dad tries to say they are not the same shoe and I'm lying. The Foot Locker employee comes outside and confirms that I had the shoes on when I came in the store. The cop tells me I can leave, but the dad is still yelling. I go to the building for my appointment and was a little fearful when I came out. Fortunately, he was gone, but I walked home looking over my shoulder thinking I was going to get jacked for my shoes. I've been wearing Jordans since the 90s and this is the first time I've been afraid to wear them. Stories like this are so fucking weird to me. What the hell is wrong with people? Seriously. I have never encountered a parent this aggressive and wanting something for their kid. That's because it's fake. What adult is going to demand a pair of shoes off another adult for a 9-year-old that will never fit them? It's way more believable that an entitled parent would demand they buy the shoes in their child's size after learning OP knew where to get them. Least resistance and all that. If the kid was 9 to 10, wouldn't he have smaller feet? It makes no sense for the dad to try and steal your shoes if they won't fit his kid. Unless he planned on keeping them somewhere until the kid could fit them? I wasn't paying too much attention to the dad, so he could have heard what size I asked for in the shoe I was trying on, and that's why he made the offer. I wear a men's 7/women's 8.5 and my 11-year-old cousin can fit my shoes. I worked in a shoe department and you would be shocked at how many people buy shoes that aren't their size. What a horrible father to be teaching his son that he lies and makes false accusations like that. And shame on the police officer. I sure hope he gave the guy a talking to. How infuriating. My mom throws a fit over not being invited to a wedding plus AITA for thinking she overreacted? context, a cousin of mine on my mother's side is getting married. Due to a limited budget and seats, my household was not invited, but we aren't the only ones who didn't receive an invitation. I completely understand though, and part of me didn't want to go in the first place. Mom received a call from her sister about my cousin's wedding. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I think her sister asked if we got our invitation yet. Mom said that we did not, and her sister said that she got hers. Unfortunately, Mom threw a fit and complained to her cousin through her great uncle. She thought that the cousin's family was being ableist. I have too many disorders for me to list, and nearly lost control over her emotions. Keep in mind that another household in the family did not receive an invitation either. I understand that seats and money are limited, but I think Mom was taking this too personally. After things cooled down, I talked to Dad about this and said that I had been stressing over what I was going to wear to the wedding ever since it was announced. I was thinking about chickening out and making up some excuse not to go, like a cold. Dad, being a fellow introvert, said that he didn't want to go either. We now have plans to go somewhere fun on the day of the wedding instead of the wedding. AITA for thinking my mom overreacted a little? Your mother did overreact. It is not her wedding and not her budget. Weddings are hella expensive. NTA. Sorry, your mom is attention-seeking person. Seriously, it'd be one thing if it was a big wedding and everyone else was invited, though you still shouldn't throw a fit about it. But smaller weddings can be tough figuring out which people you really want there. Honestly, if I ever get married again, I don't want a wedding. I've done the whole stressful thing before and it's just not worth it. Why you guys abbreviate all? I cannot understand shit. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.